Hey y'all! Welcome back to another gameplay overview, where I'm planning to cover in a series of videos the many interesting aspects of inZOI. In this chapter, we're covering relationships, the health system, the rumor system, and the interesting and unique lore within this game. And I'd like to once again preface that this game is still in early development. It is still indeed planned for early access release late 2024. And again, I emphasize early access. That means not complete, not official. The game will continue to develop even as we play it. And remember, your feedback shapes the game. In fact, the devs are actually asking for it. So feel free to input your comments down below if you have any constructive feedback, because they're listening and taking note. And with that aside, let's get into it. Let's start off with relationships. The director of the game, K-Jun, has stated in interviews that he knows how important relationships are, and that they want them to be very detailed and complex in this game. The available interactions are supposed to be based on your relationship type, such as acquaintances, family, friends. Even within family, for example, the dialogue choices are varied, depending on the relation, such as husband and wife or parent and child. The devs have already stated that they are aware that our current interaction options are needing a little bit more variety, so stay tuned for a little bit more there. Again, this game is still in early development, so we do need to be somewhat patient as it continues to progress. So I'm showcasing here examples of what the interaction options are currently for, say, a newlywed couple still getting to know each other. I'll showcase a more advanced relationship in just a minute to compare. And here's some parent-child interactions. So from the parent's point of view, there's some rather unique options here, like reprimand for having to repeat yourself, ask about trendy snacks, and this really cute one, ask them what they dream to be. And then switching to the child's point of view, you can ask your parent about their school life in the past. Or you could behave like a little brat and express dissatisfaction with home-cooked meals. I mean, I really like the options so far, they're pretty good. It's just, we need more like these. They're very unique and we're off to a great start. In this I just wanted to share because it's just so cute. This is a blooming romance between two zois. Look at the heart bubble above his head. I love how it's filling up as their affection grows. You can see the level swishing about. It's just so cute. And then here's that advanced relationship I mentioned earlier. You see their friendship level is almost maxed out. Oh, and I also forgot to mention, notice the structure used for the interactions. They're organized using tabs, indicating files, for love, business relationships, and friendships. I mean, it really goes along with this notion that you're working for a company, and I'll get into that later when we talk about the lore. But going back to the tabs, once these two marry, the love tab becomes a family tab. So the interactions are organized by relationship type. Also, you may have already noticed that your zoi's current mood will unlock some new interaction options during that duration of that particular mood. And another neat gameplay feature is that your zoi's unique personality can also influence your interactions. If you recall during character creation, you had to choose what trait your zoi would have. That trait came along with some predetermined values that line up with that trait. So those values will actually influence some available dialogue options. And not just interactions with other zois, but also random actions. Like this zoi here, because they value authority, they can perform this action to count money. Or this zoi here, who has a very bad temper, he passes by another zoi, and then you see this exclamation above his head. You should walk looking straight ahead. And here's a maxed out family relationship between two married zois. There's some really sweet interactions available now, and I'm happy to hear the devs are already making it more fleshed out as we speak. Also, I should mention that clicking the blue arrow on the bottom will rearrange all options in a list format if that's easier for your eyes. So you can have it in a cloud format or in a list format. Now, one thing I really hope they tweak or add to, I guess, is when one zoi hates another. In this case, the female zoi here in the green jumper is cheating on her husband who is standing in the background there. So he actually does react when she's cheating right in front of him, but then he just kind of forgets and sits down to read a book, even when they're still standing there in front of him. And then when switching to the husband's point of view and clicking on the guy she just cheated with, you have some really strange interaction options like give a thank you card? I mean, man, I wish I had that kind of zen. Also, why is he joyful right now? He's just not acting quite right, I think. Here are some more interactions that just don't really make sense in my opinion. I don't know, maybe he's just some kind of Buddhist monk. Maybe he's just got that level of goodness and forgiveness in his heart. In any case, I really kind of hope they change this. And a lot of you have asked, can you fight in this game? Yes, you can. You could absolutely be a naughty Zoi and pick fights. Here's some hate-fueled interactions, such as throwing garbage in another Zoi's face, pointing at them in a hostile fashion, and yeah, punching them straight in the jaw. Again and again. But I do love the garbage throwing. There's a back and forth with that animation that is just so funny. And if you work your Zoi up to enough of a rage, you get this enraged moodlet, and it actually blocks out certain interactions. So you'll have to cool down before you could even try to repair the relationship. Also, your relationship can get so bad, you may get this notification to attend marriage counseling. I thought that was a nice touch. And another thing I kind of hope they'll fix is if your Zoi wants to interact with someone, but they're occupied doing something else, your desired action will not take precedence over whatever that other Zoi is doing. You'll get this pop-up here. This can be a little annoying having to wait for them to finish their action. I feel like whatever they're doing should be cancelled so you can interact with them without having to wait for them to finish. And not to go on a complete tangent here, but tell me I'm not the only one that sees a giant Reese's peanut butter cup right here? I mean, that is my favorite kind of candy. This table looks simply delicious. And moving on, let's talk about the health system. If you recall back to the city controls, you can actually adjust the health levels of your city here. The lower you place it, the more often your Zois will be sick. So far, I've only seen colds affecting Zois. When you fall sick with a cold, it will affect your Zoi's mood, as you can see here. You'll also see indication of your Zoi coughing. So far, no animation for this, but maybe that's coming in the future. But you'll see a pop-up over your Zoi's head indicating they have a cough. And your Zoi can actually purchase a medkit online which contains cold medication they can take to help get over the cold. I'm hoping in the future we might also have hospitals where you can get treatment. And hopefully that will come with a doctor career path. That's actually one of my favorite career paths in The Sims, right after the investigator career path. It would be a dream to get both of those in this game. We know so far we'll be getting a veterinarian career path in base game, so doctor seems reasonable for the future. Not for early access, but hopefully sometime in the future, we'll see. But getting back to colds, they are contagious and you will see it move from Zoi to Zoi, which is super interesting. So if your kid comes home from school with a cold, your whole household can catch it. And I'm wondering what other health effects we might see in the future. I had a viewer recently suggest allergies. I think that's a great idea. You can go to the doctor for allergy meds to deal with sneezing, watery eyes, and what have you, or your Zoi might be allergic to certain foods or ingredients, for example. There could even be a new death in the game around this. Death by sneezing your brain out. I'm kidding. I mean, craft it unless you want to. Now, the rumor system. I'm very intrigued by this, and I think if they do this right, it could be very interesting. I haven't seen any of the playtesters actually see this all the way through, and I'm wondering if that's because it's just simply not fleshed out yet. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when your Zoi is out and about in the city, you will notice these indications over other Zoi's heads, where it will say rumor, and then there will be some kind of statement after it, like, I can't believe this, or so much is happening. You can select that Zoi and investigate the rumor. The way I believe this is supposed to work is that you interact with Zois and continue the rumor dialogue. The rumor is supposed to evolve from Zoi to Zoi. And I mean, it's supposed to spread, much like the colds do. I find this so cool, and like I said, this can get really interesting, so I really hope they polish it and really flesh it out. Like, I would love for my Zoi to do something zany, and then have Zois nearby start a rumor about it, and then have it go full circle back to my Zoi, and have it be completely insane and blown out of proportion. I mean, much like rumors tend to do. Kind of like that telephone game you played as a child where you start with a statement and pass it on, and when it gets back to you, it's something completely different. That's one aspect I'd like to see. But also, if your Zoi cheats, for example, maybe it gets back to their partner eventually. Not instantly like it is now, via the rumor system. But I wouldn't want that to be guaranteed to reach the partner. I would want that to have like an X% chance of it happening or not. I think that would make things unpredictable and way more interesting. It's no fun if your partner knows instantly that you're cheating every single time. You might not want that. Anyway, what you're seeing on the screen now, I'm pretty sure was some kind of glitch in the Matrix. It was so weird and kind of creepy. All these Zois congregated at the corner of this dark alley, and it seems like some of them are actually copies. Like, what is going on here? And there's the rumor popping up, as you see. I really wish you would have investigated it further, like I said, but maybe it's just not fleshed out yet, and that's why. I really hope they continue developing this system. Oh, and then suddenly, as if by hive mentality, this doppelganger freak show just collectively walked over to the bus and just boarded. I was like, what just happened? I wish we could board the bus and follow them. I wanted to know how that circus show ended. Oh well. Let's finally get into some of the lore in this game. Oh, and hey, don't forget to hit the like on this video if you're enjoying this inZOI content. It really helps me a lot, and I'm very thankful that you're all here. Well, we're all aware, I think by now, that we, the players, are newly employed demigods at this AR company. inZOI has just released the video you're seeing now, where Henry, who just happens to work for Human Resources, takes you on a tour around the AR company. So as a new employee in this company, you're responsible for essentially carrying and guiding the Zois located below you in the simulated cities, and you're supposed to guide them to be good by the deeds they perform throughout their life. And we'll get into that in just a bit. Notice here in this scene the directional sign. You have the help desk right below, but more importantly, the library. That's going to be a very important aspect in this game, in terms of lore anyway. Notice the pages floating up from the city below. Pages that are recorded moments in a Zoi's life. Again, we'll get into that shortly. Oh, and who's this? Cats. Cats everywhere you look. I just want to point out this fiery kitty over here with a temperament to match. And I'm speculating here, I think there's a cat for each part of this game. Like Fire Kitty here, which we don't know their actual name yet, might be the supervisor for the actual fires in the cities. I think that would be a really neat concept. And this kitty here is actually called Cupid. Maybe he's the supervisor for how love works in the simulated worlds. He's also known for having a kitty crush on Psycat. And alas, yes, I guess we're calling her Psycat. I don't like the name, but I guess I'll get used to it. I had originally referred to her as the director of the game had been calling her in interviews, which is simply Pussycat. So here we are. And yes, Psycat is a female cat, and she is your supervisor. You can actually chat with Henry in the game, though it is pre-scripted right now. I think the intention is to use AI-driven dialogue here though. They are already doing that with Psycat, though it's very limited right now. So Henry will give you a lot of the background for the AR company and what you're responsible for as an employee here. Notice the definition of Zoi here. The director of the game is a rather big fan of Stoicism and the old Greek philosophers. But let's get back to the library, shall we? When your Zoi passes away, their soul actually goes to the AR library. Here it is determined by the Zoi's karma, good or bad deeds, that are recorded and sent up to the AR company, as you saw before with the pages floating up. They'll have to determine if they're able to move on, where they can actually be reborn, or if your Zoi will have to roam around the city as a ghost, and they'll have to continue to accumulate good deeds in order to move on. Also notice the gray-haired old woman here holding the cat? She's the librarian. You can see the library here on the map and even visit it while your Zoi is alive. And yes, once you get there, you'll be able to meet the librarian. So we haven't seen ghosts yet in the game. The devs are still working on everything surrounding death, but we know there will be a library within each city. And if you accumulate too many ghosts within your city, there will have to be a halt to any new births within that city. You will have to start helping the current ghosts complete their good deeds in order for them to move on so that more births can be possible. I think this is all a very interesting concept, one I have never seen before in any other game, and I can't wait to see how the lore in this game will evolve as the game continues to develop. So do our zois actually know they're living in a simulation controlled by us demigods? You will see dialogue options sometimes that indicate your zoi is aware, but for the most part I don't think they are. Your zoi will have a rather sharp smack of reality though if they try to travel past the edge of the city, or the border of your tablet I should say, such as this. You can literally see the edge of the simulation here, and it's a hard stop. I think this is just another charming aspect of the game. I kinda hope we see some more glitches of the Matrix like this. Well friend, what do you think so far from this gameplay? What aspects do you feel excited for and eager to play? Or what suggestions do you have for improvement or to simply expand on the game? The devs have been pretty responsive so far to feedback, and who knows, your idea might even make its way into the game in the future. So definitely provide it. Well, next video will cover aspects such as the karma system, gameplay activities, and what we've been asking more of so far. Whimsy. Like, does this game have enough whimsy? I think we like to compare to The Sims, eh? Anyway, stay tuned for that one. Please subscribe, like, and share. I'll see you soon. Take care, and as always, enjoy!